now we've got you here who can, give us perhaps a very different perspective. So my question, of everything we talked about, of everything that Bart has shared, for me the key piece was, in this meditation we are connecting to God.
Correct.
So what I really want to understand is, how does Bart stay connected to God? And what do I have to do to stay connected like that?
Well, he's not always, when you see him driving in traffic in Toronto, it's not very beautiful, I can tell you that. First of all, it starts off with very simple things. Simple things that I'm not going to be moaning and groaning about simple things. With other words, how many times a day do you actually really pollute yourself? How many times a day do you moan, do you sigh, do you groan? Do you go, oh my God, I can't believe this? All those things all need to disappear. People don't really understand. It is not a matter of, you got to pretend that everything is all right. You need to eliminate all the sighs, the displeasements, the unhappiness, I can't believe it, I'm so agitated. All these things, all these small chemical, parts of our existence is the first thing in which actually goes. Once you start eliminating all these layers of disappointment, attitudes, judgments, Bart, certainly when we listen to him, his biggest surprise, I think most of all, when he speaks about someone else, he'll just go, I just can't believe it, I just can't believe it. Because he truly can't believe that they have not been able to maintain that level of consciousness. So you can certainly speak about other people, but you speak about them in honesty, in truth, in what it is, not in a way that really deteriorates or distracts from that person, which is really not your nature to begin with. So your day cannot be filled with disappointments, which is sort of interesting. Disappointments, I think that everybody is so comfortable making remarks, making comments. Oh, I can't believe the bus is late. I can't believe the train is late. All that stuff needs to go. There is really no room for that kind of relationship with yourself. The frontal lobe, which is sort of interesting, very similar to the ego. The ego is very interesting because if you look at the ego, the way that, scientists and psychologists actually speak about the ego, that the ego strongly defends its own identity, and this is actually very true. The ego really is there to defend its own, but when the ego sees that there is a shift in your cognitive awareness, and you sustain this level of self-realization, there is a point within the ego where the ego no longer, it will go back and forth throughout a day, but the ego actually becomes your greatest protector, not in the sense of that you need protecting, but actually elevating yourself too. So there's actually a shift in the role of the ego, where you are no longer feeding the ego on a daily basis. So that includes moaning and groaning and disappointment and, I can't believe this, what a disappointment this and what a disappointment. All of that begins to disappear. Then the repetitive pattern of the frontal lobe, which basically means the repetitive patterns of your ego, which basically means, you cannot, I can't believe she did this. All the repetitive patterns of the frontal lobe. Once all the frontal lobe patterns, the repetitive patterns of, I'm worried about something, oh my God, I got to call her, I can't believe she said this, I can't believe he did this. Once all these repetitive patterns actually come to an end, a different position of the ego, which is sort of interesting, is, I can't believe, I'm trying to figure out why this happened. I'm going to give it room to give me a different explanation, because I can keep talking about why she offended me, why she did what she did, but I want to understand a bigger reason. I just don't want my ego to gurgitate the same disappointment over and over and over and over. I want to have a soul perspective, not an ego perspective. So then we go through the stages where we are waiting for a deeper insight, a deeper interpretation. Like, why is this person behaving the way she is? Why is this person behaving so deeply inappropriately? Why is this person being so utterly rude? Why is this person, she's got cancer. Well, she didn't know she had cancer, but now all of a sudden you figure out she's got cancer, which explains why her behavior is this way. Or, she is so deeply, broken internally that she looks externally really together, but really she's quite broken. So when we are looking for a different interpretation from the ego, where we're looking for a soul understanding, we've actually bypassed a frontal lobe that repeats itself over and over. We're now saying we want a different understanding. What is really going on? What is not just going on from an ego perspective, but what's really going on? And then we can allow a day, an hour, a week, a month. We allow whatever a significant amount of time to bypass to go, you know what? Now I understand. It doesn't mean that I'm going to get back in my relationship with this person. It just means now I have a deeper understanding. Often when I speak with people and they're about to do their business, often I'll just say, be aware she doesn't have the consciousness. And people go, yeah. And they repeat exactly the same thing. Then they come back to me and they go, I can't believe she did that. She pulled the contract out from underneath me. Well, yes, but I already told you that. I already told you this person does. So the beingness of you doesn't judge people. The beingness of you, the soul part of you, says she's lovely, but she will turn on you, or she will attack you, or she can't sustain this level of consciousness. So when we shift from an ego interpretation versus soul wisdom, we move into a new arena where we're looking for an interpretation and we're allowing whatever space and time to exist for that interpretation, but we're also approaching things from a very logical and a very linear perspective. I put everything into place. What do I really need to be aware of? I remember years ago where I said to this gentleman, you need to take care of your finances of your company. And he would never really try to understand what it is, what I said, or when I said it. He just listened to it and tried to give it enough space and time to apply it, integrate it, without saying, oh, well, Dr. Williams told me to do that. He had a real deep sense of feeling his way through. So he began to take care of all of his finances of his business partner, and he did all the construction, he did all the his partner died. But if he wouldn't have gotten involved in all the finances, he would have not known where all the money, how things were. It would have taken him years to figure that all out. So similarly, when you start going through life and saying, I'm going to engage in this, yes, I'm enthusiastic, yes, I'm excited, yes, I'm thrilled, yes, I'm exuberant in doing, but what do I need to, what are the things that I need to be aware of, so that I can manage this, so that my world isn't filled with all this drama and tragedy and craziness. So it's not a matter of, well, I'm waiting for Mary to go crazy. It just means I can just love Mary, but I'm not expecting anything more of Mary. And so therefore, I allow Mary to do and to give her whatever space and time to give her without me worrying about what she's going to do or when she turns on me. So we start operating a very different way of life. Once we start looking at what can I contribute here? How can I contribute to this project? How can I contribute to this relationship? How can I contribute to this without saying, oh my God, I just love Mary, and oh my God, it's really wonderful, and her and I are going to be completely best friends, and we are going to be so incredible until our dysfunctions come to the table, and then everything crashes. So when someone begins to live in consciousness, they're not looking at, I'm looking for another big best friend. They're looking at, what do I need to be aware of? It's like saying, who am I? Where am I going? Those are really two very big questions. But when you enter into new adventures and you say, what do I need to be aware of? And what do I have to offer? Now you're not developing relationships with everybody and trying to manage everybody. Now you're delivering your God self to the table instead of your personality. That's a shift in awareness.